Welcome to Voice Rising with Kara Johnstad. Enjoy weekly conversations with leading luminaries, pioneering visionaries, singers, poets, musicians, and sound healers as we explore the profound role our voice plays on the path to self-realization and global enlightenment. The internationally acclaimed singer, composer, author, healer, recording artist, voice expert, creator of Voice Your Essence, and founder of the School of Voice, Kara Johnstad uses her extraordinary spiritual gifts to empower others. Everything in this world vibrates. Everything has a frequency. A pioneer in the field of voice work and transformational songwriting. Her breakthrough methods are helping thousands of people worldwide fine-tune their body-mind-spirit system and unlock the energetic frequencies of limitless creativity, health, and abundance. Share your voice, ask your questions, join in the conversation. Receive life-changing, positive transformation and rise together to create a sound world. And here's your host, Kara Johnstad.
Hello, everybody. A very warm welcome to the show today. With me in studio, I have a very special guest, the world-renowned musician, composer, educator, producer, and peace activist, Yuval, and he's here to talk with us about sound consciousness and his brand new album, The 4 Divine States of Mind. Welcome, Yuval.
Oh, wonderful to be with you, Kara.
It's good, huh? It feels good to be here again together in studio. Mm-hmm. I have been listening to your newest release, 4 Divine States of Mind, which features 4 celebrated and outstanding artists, including Estrella Morente, Deva Premal, Uyanga Bold, and Chloe Pourmorady. I hope I'm saying these names correctly. And there are a lot of other great musicians on the album. It was written and recorded and produced, I believe, by you. Is that correct? You are the composer behind everything. Yeah.
Yes, all the music is original music that I composed for this album, and this is the fruit of the work that we've done all over the world in the last 2 years, recording it in India and Spain and in the United States, and it's wonderful to see it going out to the world after 2 years of work.
Yeah, I can imagine. Share with us your vision. What would you love the listeners of this album to experience? Yeah, when they're listening to this beautiful music.
Mm-hmm. Yes, this album is a commission that I received from Dr. Richard Gold, who is the president of a record company called Meta Mindfulness Music, which is dedicated to create healing sounds to improve well-being and to cultivate inner peace around the world. And the album is dedicated to the Buddhist teachings of the 4 divine states of mind, which are loving kindness, which is called metta, with double T. And the second one is compassion, which is in Sanskrit is karuna. And the third one is vicarious joy. It's not just joy. Joy is really important, but vicarious joy is even more important than joy. It's the joy that you have when your fellow human being is happy. When somebody else is happy and you are happy for that. That is vicarious joy. And then the last one is called in Sanskrit epeka, which means equanimity, which is a very difficult state of mind to reach. I believe just saints, very special people achieved it. We can understand it intellectually, but to really feel it and practice it and walk the walk is extremely difficult for human beings, because equanimity means the oneness and equality of all things. Everything is equal, the good and the bad, your low point and your high point, even death and life. Right. It's all one. It's all one, and it doesn't mean that you become apathic, become cold and non-emotional, because everything is one. So why bother? This is not the teaching of Buddhism. The teaching is that you enjoy and you live emotionally every minute of life, but you know that everything is one, and so you are not destroyed by a bad day, and you're not losing yourself when you have a good day. It's a very very special way of being. It's called epeka, equanimity. It's very, very, very important now for the world to practice these 4 divine states of mind: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And in Buddhism, it's considered the 4 great healers for wounded society. These are considered the healers of societies in crisis. And it's not a medicine for the society directly. It's a medicine for the individuals in the societies. And once the individuals in the society start practicing those 4, then the society can start healing.
It can shift, right? Shift consciousness. I would love to play the track so people can get a taste of this new album and really start absorbing and listening to your music. I would like to play Compassion, Karuna, off of the 4 divine states of mind, and after listening to it, we can then dive deeper into compassion. You are back at Voice Rising. I am with Yuval Ron in studio, and we just listened to a track, Compassion, the track Compassion, also known as Karuna, off of Yuval's latest album, which is the 4 Divine States of Mind. Yuval, nonviolence is not the recourse of the weak, but actually calls for an uncommon kind of strength. It is not a refraining from something, but engaging in the engaging of a positive force. I have a question that I'd love to ask. We are so conditioned in duality and to taking sides with right and wrong. And I think you spoke a little bit at the top of the hour about equanimity. There is such divisiveness at the moment that we are in. How can we be compassionate with souls who are using hateful language? Or how can we stay with that open-hearted spirit with people in the same room that might be propagating violence? Do you ever struggle to stay open and to stay in an open space and practice compassion in the face of such ugliness.
Yes. There are two strategies to deal with that. There's two teachings, two techniques, and one of them is understanding first and foremost that every human being, every living being, not just human, but all beings, actions are a result of their path and result of their past. So when you encounter a behavior that you find appalling, you immediately start thinking about what are the roots of this behavior, rather than to be judgmental and combative with that behavior. You think about what is the root cause, what led to this behavior. And when you really contemplate that, you start to develop compassion to the results of that path, of that tragedies, of those traumas that led to a certain behavior. It doesn't mean that that behavior is acceptable. That behavior has to have consequences, but the consequences has to be taken with compassion, and with protecting human life, with protecting protecting property, protecting nature, and so on. This is one technique. The other technique is turning to ourselves and looking where we did something wrong, or where did we fail, where did we lose our temper in the past, and develop compassion to our own wrongdoing. And when we do that, we have more power to be compassionate towards other people who fail, other people who make mistakes, other people who behave below the standard of the higher virtues that we would like them to practice and to be at. So we look at ourselves and we say, just like we failed once, another human being may fail. And right now, we are witnessing another human being failing or making a huge mistake, a very bad judgment call. But we, sometime in the past, and possibly in the future, we ourselves may make a very wrong judgment and behave in a way that we would be disappointed at ourselves. And so just like we can forgive ourselves and be compassionate with ourselves, we could develop that attitude towards the other. And that takes the edge out of the violence and the aggression of the other side. That is the approach.
Beautiful. Yuval, that's very powerful. Can you share with us a personal story along your path when you were struggling and maybe suffering, and an act of loving kindness or a compassionate act helped you through those dire times? Do you remember one of those moments when compassion played a key role in shifting something?
Yes. The best practice for me, and it's daily practice, is with my family, with my wife and my two kids. I have a teenager girl who's 15 years old now, and a son who's 12 years old. And especially now that they're both becoming teenagers. One is already a teenager, my daughter, and my son is becoming a teenager. It's very challenging. It's very challenging for the parents. And for me as a father to see my sweet children becoming teenagers that need to kick their parents. They need to they need to be negative against anything. They need to push back against anything that is beautiful and positive. Or, for example, until they were 11 years old, every year they would beg me to come to the school. They would beg me to come to the school and present music and teach as a guest teacher. And I would go every month, sometimes every 3 weeks. Throughout the school year, I would go to the class and offer a workshop or something for the children with music and teaching. And my kids would be so proud of me. They would beg that I would come to school. And now when they turn teenagers, they are ashamed of me. They just want me to disappear. They when the teachers ask me to come to the school and perform or teach, my kids are turning around their back and they're so ashamed. This is the worst day in the year for them, and I had to deal with that. And it's not so much about my ego; it's about my connection with my children. While the other children still, I feel, love me, and they still receive the music and the teaching. The other children, but my own children hate every second of it. It's painful for them. They just hate it. And for me, again, it's not about me. It's about my harmonious relationship with my children, and I have to deal with it. You see, if I were to fight with them, if I would see it as they are behaving in an aggressive way towards me and my music and my teaching and all the wisdom traditions that I'm bringing, they are fighting against it aggressively, and I'm gonna show them. I would fight back, and I would teach them a lesson how this is unacceptable, and that's not the way to behave. You see, if I would take that route, it's just starting a war. It would create more alienation. So I'm trying to find the compassionate way to deal with it, and I remind myself that when I was a teenager, I would argue with my parents as much as I really loved my parents. And so I remind myself that my children are normal, and this is the way of nature. It's not that my kids want to do this to me and to themselves. They are part of nature, and nature makes them, at this period, alienate themselves from anything that has to do with me, even if it's good. Regardless if it's something good or bad, they have to alienate themselves, and that's part of nature shaping them to be healthy individuals. And I have to be patient for this phase to pass, and I have to be compassionate with their struggle to become individuals. And you see, that whole process take the edge off my reaction and make my reaction to their behavior much more peaceful, because I choose the path of compassion.
Beautiful. Yuval, we're going to take a very short break, and we're going to be back then with more on your newest album.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at OMTimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hi, this is David Strickle. I'm excited to share my brand new show, The Stream of David Live, right here on OMTimes Radio. Each week I'll have exciting guests, and I'll channel the eternal wisdom of the stream, a group of non-physical entities whose teachings have transformed lives all over the world. So join us for an uplifting hour each Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's the Stream of David Live right here on OMTimes Radio.
With happy clients all over the world, Kara Johnstad knows that your voice is the missing link to more authenticity, abundance, creativity, and health. An internationally acclaimed voice expert, Kara's breakthrough methods have helped thousands of people successfully heal their voice wounds and extinguish the story of self-doubt and shyness forever. Join in group trainings, attend online sessions, schedule one-on-one time, and invite Kara to work with your organization and community. Get started today. Go to www.karajohnstad.com and receive a special guided meditation designed to fine-tune your inner voice and welcome you on the voice journey.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Voice Rising. I'm your host, Kara Johnstad, and with me in studio today is a world-renowned musician, composer, educator, producer, and peace activist, Yuval. And we are talking about compassion, and we are talking about loving kindness. Yuval, compassion for others often begins with kindness for ourselves. We are literally walking miracles, and yet many of us struggle with being kind and gentle with ourselves. We beat ourselves up, and we can be very harsh critics to ourselves. I'm not even saying to our families, right? To our friends. You explore in your music, you explore in your retreats, you explore in the work you do, also going into schools and teaching children and all these wonderful projects that you're doing. You explore these powerful four states of mind, and that something as simple as loving kindness can be so powerful. So can you give us a key example or some tools of how we can implement something as basic and simple as loving kindness into our everyday life?
Yes, certainly. Yeah, in the new album, I chose a specific mantra, which is a powerful tool. It's a chanting of a Sanskrit, an ancient Indian language sentence that were used for thousands of years in ancient India to date to invoke a certain impact on the mind and the body. So that is the practice of mantra. So in order to invoke loving kindness, I decided to pick a mantra that is simply two words in Sanskrit. It's a short mantra, very easy to remember and to chant. And it goes like this: Aham Prema. Okay, that's all. Aham Prema. And what it means...
Prema.
Yes. And what it means, literally, what it means in Sanskrit, it means I am divine love. I am divine love. Now, when you chant that mantra, Aham Prema, when you chant it many times, it becomes a hypnotic practice. It hypnotizes your brain. It hypnotizes your consciousness to embody and own this idea that is a little bit difficult for us because we think about ourselves as human, just individual. We are just little people. We are just me, little me. I have nothing to do with anything divine. I have nothing to do in anything that is godly. And many people don't even believe that there's anything that exists that is divine or anything that is godly or supreme or absolute or a great mystery or something beyond human. Many people just cannot believe this. And if they believe, they don't see it as part of themselves. They see it as something above them in the skies, in the heavens. So this practice of Aham Prema is chanting it, so you start training your mind and your consciousness to say to yourself, I am divine love. Meaning, I am carrying the divine love, meaning the love that started this universe, the love that is behind everything that we see. Love in a sense of, it's not a romantic love necessarily, but it can include romantic love, but it's more of a motherly love. It's more the kind of love that a mother has to a baby, which is an instinct. A mother has to, first of all, the mother develops the baby in the womb. The mother does that. It makes the baby from a cell, from one egg that meets a sperm. It develops all the details of life. And then when the fetus comes out as a baby, the mother feeds and nourishes that baby. And that is an incredible form of love. That's an expression of divine love. This is a simple way for people to understand what I'm talking about when I say divine love. It's not something completely mystical. Of course, it's a wondrous relationship between the mother and the baby, but it's very practical also. The life of the baby depends on the loving kindness of the mother. Even when the mother is really tired in the middle of the night and the mother is exhausted and the baby wants to be fed, the love, the kindness, the loving kindness, the metta in Sanskrit, metta is becoming stronger in the mother and becomes a heroic task for the mother in the middle of the night, the exhausting mother. Some mothers are almost on death bed. I mean, they're exhausted. They could die, but they rise up from that exhaustion and depletion sometimes, and they feed their baby. It's a heroic task that comes from loving kindness for the baby. Okay, that is the quality of Aham Prema. And what we say to ourselves when we chant that, we say, I have this divine love. I have this power of loving kindness in me. Every person, man or a woman, every person have it. And imagine if we really embody it and remember it, because we forget that we have it. If we go out the door every day and we have this consciousness that we are carrying, we are that kind of loving kindness, heroic loving kindness, nourishing loving kindness, the world will be a different world, you see. And that is what we chant in the song Loving Kindness, Metta. We chant, we sing this for about almost 15 minutes long, again and again and again, Aham Prema. And I invite the audience, the listening audience, to sing along, to chant along. It's very easy, it's simple. So anybody could sing along, and that is a great practice. If you do that every day for, I think the song is about 13 minutes, between 13 and 15 minutes a day. Imagine if you just sing this every day for 13 minutes, how that would transform your life.
Beautiful, Yuval. Let's listen to the track now, Loving Kindness, Metta. And for those out there in the listening audience, if you have, of course, not driving in the middle of the traffic, but just in a beautiful space where you can just kind of close your eyes and sing Aham Prema from the new album, The Four Divine States of Mind.
Prema
This is Voice Rising. I'm Kara Johnstad, and you were listening to the track Loving Kindness off of Yuval Ron's newest album, The 4 States of Mind. Yuval is in studio with us. How many of you guys were singing out there? I was actually humming along. So, Yuval, you've been touring the world. You've been all over the place. Share with us one of those crazy moments where you experienced an act of loving kindness that was so out of the blue from some complete stranger, which lifted you up and made you smile.
So many experiences. One of the things that come to mind is when I was in Kansas several years ago with my ensemble. We gave a concert in the University of Kansas in Manhattan, Kansas. We're in the middle of America. Nothing can be more American than that, being in the middle of Kansas, in the middle of America. And we're giving a concert in an American university. And after the concert, a group of Middle Eastern students come to me. And I was born in Israel. I was raised in Israel. I'm coming from a Jewish family. My name is a Hebrew name, Yuval Ron. And a group of Middle Eastern Muslim students approach me after the concert in the lobby, and they are all from Kuwait. And they're all engineering students. And they are all sons of the top generals and ministers in the government and the military of Kuwait. And they hold my hand after the concert, and they beg me if I would do them an honor and bring my whole ensemble. We were about 8 musicians. If I could bring my whole ensemble to their humble student house that they rent together. They live 8 students in one house. Each one has a little room. If I could come right at that moment, at 11 p.m. in Kansas, come to their house because they just wish to cook a whole dinner for us in our honor right then and now. And the next morning we were supposed to continue on the concert tour. We would go to the airport to go to another city. And we were tired, and but I felt that this came from a place of loving kindness. Yeah. It was not to achieve anything. It was not to achieve any monetary reward. It was a real offer of loving kindness to us. I felt the love, and it was not a romantic love. It was a divine love. And I said to my ensemble, let's go with these guys. We don't know them. We have no idea who they are. But we're going to go to their home, and we're going to be their guests for the night. And we went there at 11 p.m., and they just start cooking. And they start cooking a whole Middle Eastern feast. And then it took 2 hours for them to cook. And they hosted us with tea and pastries before. And then at 1 a.m., they opened a simple bed sheet, fabric on the floor. And they put all the food on the floor, the traditional way that you eat in the desert. Although they had chairs and they had sofas, but they wanted to do it in the way, the tradition. And I know the tradition because I traveled in the dunes and with the Bedouins since my childhood in Israel. And so we sat on the floor and we ate with our fingers from one big communal table, the way you do it in the desert. And they treated us like, real VIP in a Middle Eastern way. And they were so grateful that we came to their university in Kansas and played music from their world, and we elevated, we put their culture, that's the way they saw it. They saw their culture on the stage of the university in a respectful and beautiful way, and they were so moved by that, to be in the middle of America where a lot of them are being subjected to not very nice treatment in the middle of America. Some people treat them like they are terrorists. Some people treat them as they are aliens, that they are not humans, that they are threatening, and they're just engineering students. And this was a beautiful, beautiful night. And we stayed there until 3:30 in the morning, and then we parted. And I kept in touch with one of them who went back to Kuwait, and we corresponded for some time. And this was an incredible, incredible moment. And it came from this feeling, that energy of divine love.
Beautiful. Very beautiful, Yuval. We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to be back with more about the new album and Yuval Ran's stories, beautiful stories of his life.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
As I'm sure you know, it is time to celebrate self-discovery and personal growth. But you know, your efforts have to be consistent in order to stay balanced and to overcome depression and fears. So, what new books are available? How do you stay centered? Elizabeth Joyce and her guests will help you find out. That's Elizabeth Joyce on Let's Find Out, Mondays at 6 p.m. on OMTimes Radio.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Voice Rising. I'm your host, Cara Johnstad, and with me in studio today is the world-renowned musician, composer, educator, producer, and peace activist, Yuval Ran. Yuval, you have a new album out there, The 4 States of Mind, and we've been talking a lot about these 4 states of beingness, the compassion factor. We've been talking about loving kindness. And now I'd like to talk about a beautiful word, mudita, vicarious joy. And what I found so fascinating about looking into this word is that there is no word in English nor in many languages for this beautiful state of being, which you were speaking about in the beginning of the show. Also, this, of course, joy is very important to our lives, happiness and joy. But as far as I understand, mudita is when we have joy because somebody else has joy. We're happy for other people's happiness. Their happiness makes us happy, right? In German, there's the opposite word. We have the word Schadenfreude, which is I'm happy because somebody is not well. It's very weird, like very strange. Mm-hmm. So Buddha said, I declare that the heart's release by sympathetic joy has a sphere of infinite consciousness for its excellence. How can we up that sympathetic joy factor? We've been taught, many of us, to be so competitive, so competitive with each other, so envious, and unfortunately so jealous. And yet, if we can practice this state of being of vicarious joy, then the whole world becomes more vibrant, more.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that it's that simple, right? If somebody it has success that we're happy for that person's success.
Yes.
We don't feel less than. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, Cara, this is opening the door, your question, opening the door to a very interesting, very, very interesting insight. And it's a little tricky, but it's really, really, really complex, but simple at the same time. And I wanted to share that with you and the listeners because you asked about it. One of my dear friends, Jorge from Brazil, he's a photographer, and he told me about the time that he spent with the native people in Brazil in the jungles, photographing them, for years. Mm-hmm. And he told me about these tribes that they believe in dark spirits that get into the other tribes. Mm-hmm. And they get into the forest, and those dark spirits are the source for the misfortunes and the difficulty and the aggression and war and all the misfortune that they have in the jungle. It's because of those spirits. And the tactics that they have there in the jungle is that they say, you can't take away those dark spirits from the world. There's no way to just take it out of the game. It's just part of the game called life. But the tactic is to keep them happy. Keep those dark spirits happy, and that will take the edge out of the potential aggression that those spirits lead to. Now, the way I translate it to my work is when I got to this challenge of working on vicarious joy or mudita, is that I reached to a mantra that I've been practicing in my yoga practice with my yogi teacher for 20 years now. And it goes like this: Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. It's a little bit complex to learn, but it means, may all being be happy and free. May all being, I really wish that everybody, including my enemies, including the dark spirits in this world, including the negative, what I perceive as negative spirits, I truly wish them to be happier and free. Because we believe that will lead to less aggression, that will lead to less darkness. So it comes through happiness of the other that you would reach better, happier place for yourself and for the world. Now, this is part of the first part of the mantra, which I use in the song Mudita. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. That's the chant that we chant again and again and again, and we get into a trancey rhythm. This song is all about rhythm and dance and ecstasy, ecstatic practice of chanting and chanting and chanting, and it really goes into your mind, and you can't get rid of it after singing this song for 15 minutes. You really start walking with that through your life, with this chant and this idea. Now, the second part, by the way, of this mantra is, and may my action contribute to that happiness. So the full teaching is not just that we wish for all being to be happy and free, but we also say, and may our action contribute for the happiness and freedom of all other beings. So the second half tells us that, hey, we have a responsibility too. We have a little piece of the cake that we are responsible for. We have to do something in this world that will contribute to the happiness and freedom of other beings than ourselves. And that is the key for this idea of vicarious joy and how joy leads to peace. And
Beautiful.
As I said, this is a little bit complex, but it's really simple. It's really simple. It's very simple. You have to work to make others happy and free. If you do that, this is a great service for world peace. It's a great service. And we start by chanting this mantra. This is the beginning. The beginning is the chant. And the chant is also the maintenance. It's a good maintenance to keep us going, chanting this mantra. And that mantra will give us the inspiration and the energy to do something good.
Beautiful, Yuval. Let's listen. Let's listen to Vicarious Joy. Let's listen to Mudita. We are here at Voice Rising. My name is Kara Johnstad, and I am in studio with Yuval Ron, and that was very cool, Yuval. Vicarious Joy, Mudita, it made me want to get up from behind my desk and dance and celebrate. Yuval, you're a musician, you're a meditator, you are of course, all these many names and labels that we have to try to describe our work. The essence is you spend many hours every day tuning in and fine-tuning your own body, mind, spirit system, but also with other people in your ensemble, breathing together, eating together, living together, creating harmony for this world. And something that I think a lot of people that are not musicians might not know, but in music, we always resolve and come to a peaceful ending. There's no song out there that I know of that does not find resolution, whether the song is pop or rock or a piece of classical Indian music. There's always resolution, right? There's always a feeling of harmony. We're constantly seeking harmony. How does this path that you have as a composer and as a musician, this path of peaceful resolution, how does that influence your path as a mensch?
Well, this is very interesting, Kara. Your observation, of course, inspired me to think about the teachings of mantra, which Deva Premal, the singer that just sang Mudita, the joy song, Deva shared with me in an interview that we broadcast on the date that the album was released, on the release event on YouTube on July 18th. And Deva said then an observation that she has, that no matter what mantra she sings, and she is, possibly the greatest female kirtan singer living in the West, from the Western world. She's originally from Germany. She said that no matter what mantra she sings, no matter what mantra she chants, it always leads to the same place. And that place is beyond words. It's the place of silence, and it's a place of peace. And you cannot describe it. It's really beyond any word, any human thought. And this is, we could refer to it as bliss or nirvana or divine, or, we have all kinds of words that kind of point to the direction, but none of them are appropriate words, because that place is beyond words. It's a place beyond human thoughts, but the musicians can feel it. And it is at the end of the song. As you pointed out, the song or the mantra chanting, which is a form of song, leads to a resolution and to oneness of all things. We call it the tonic. Almost all songs resolve at the end to the tonic. And what tonic is the home. That's the home center, or in other words, the root. So we at the end of a song, it leads us to the root. It leads us to the oneness. It leads us to peace. It leads us to silence beyond all words. It's all pointing to the same direction. And we musicians, we practice it every day. We practice it, we experience it. And it's interesting that songs that do not have it were written only in the 20th century. Only in the 20th century you find some contemporary classical musical styles that allowed composers to finish a symphony or to finish a piece with a chord, with a sound that is completely not resolved. And this is the reflection of where we are in this time. Since the 20th century, if you think about the two worlds, the First World War and the Second War, and the Second World War II, and the atomic bomb, and all the horrible things that we experienced in the 20th century, and we see it to the 21st century, we are experiencing level of distortion and disharmony that inspires some composers also to imitate life in society and to have a chord at the end that is not resolved and is not leading to oneness. And this is part of the sign of the time, and that's why we need a lot of music that encourage harmony. We need music now more than ever, music that brings us to inner peace.
We need music that brings us to inner peace. Yuval Ron, it's been a very big honor and a great gift to have you here on the show today. Thank you so much for being with me. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having me, Kara. Lovely to talk to you.